Who really want war? Who really wanna spar with a beast? Raise hell, someone better call in a priest. Pardon my speech, but I'm hotter than the devil when I'm high up on a level that a god couldn't reach. I'm a dog in the streets, so I don't do a lot of barking. Running this shit, I don't do a lot of walking. Keeping it 300 like I grew up with a Spartan. So out of this world, they confuse him with a Martian. Damn, no one can stop me to watch.
The Madden booth. They got head-to-head going on. W getting blown out. Stiff watching, Zan watching. And we got some Mud Squads. We're gonna hop on the Mud Squads next. Oh, what's up, Dave? What's up?
Thanks for the big
Good, how are you?
Good. What's going on?
Not much. Champions.
1-0, baby. Bullshit.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun.
That shit's fun, though.
How'd it feel? How was the L?
Hey, how'd it feel throwing 3 picks?
How was the L?
3 picks. Tell him why you picked regular kick return. Regular kick return. Oh my God! After I tell him, run the onside kick return. Onside kick return. It looked different. Oh shit!
There it is. We just played team play. Came back in overtime, won. Place is still crowded. Super crowded. It was probably the funnest Madden as far as like team play that I've ever played. I always like one-on-one. That was pretty sick. My boy D, superstar. They're interviewing him after he threw the game-losing pick 6. First off, we'll start off with your name and your title at the end.
My name is Rex Dickson. I'm the creative director for gameplay on Madden 18.
There it is. So we know Madden 18. We'll jump right into it. We know they have 3 different styles of play now: arcade, sim, and competitive. What's the main difference between the 3? I guess?
How deep do you want me to go?
As deep as you want, or you can explain it as easy as you want. Whatever you think is best.
So from a high level, if you go back a couple years, with our original vision being authentic simulation football, and then all of a sudden competitive gaming comes along. And you realize that your simulation model does not map to a competitive esport model. And so you're forced to make a decision about well, what are you going to do? Because last year we started handling a bunch of competitive exploit fixes and upset the franchise community and vice versa. And it kind of goes back to that theory that if you try to please everybody, you're actually pleasing nobody. So it became apparent to us that we needed to create 2 ways to diverge the game to give all the different audience segmentations exactly the gameplay that they were looking for.
Okay.
So that's what sort of paved the way for playstyles.
Okay, so I want to focus mostly on competitive. I feel like that's what I'm going to be playing the most. When it comes to competitive play, I think like some of the things in the past have, for lack of better terms, dumbed down the game. Kick arc, previous play, things like that. And there's always the argument that NFL teams know the previous play. So I guess you got to find like a balance with Madden and real life. What do you think about like those features? Specifically like kick guard, previous play, ball hawk, if you can jump into those three specifically.
So I'm glad you brought that up because it'll give me an opportunity to tell the core community. When you work for a big company and you work on a franchise as big as Madden, and people say the game has become too complicated and the learning curve is too steep, and there's no way you're going to grow if you don't solve accessibility and make the game more approachable for people. And so I get top-down pressure to create these types of features that will make the game easier to play for the masses. And you guys in turn consider that bailing out and fun friends. And so this goes back to competitive style again, because now I have this style and I say, when my bosses say, we need to do accessibility, we do that, I say, well, I'm not going to do it for competitive. Competitive can be kept separate now, and you guys aren't going to have to suffer under these same things. But, you know, to go beyond that, I think what we've learned over the last 3 years is that a skill gap is important. In all the big games right now, the really popular games, they're not easy to learn. And people actually gravitate to YouTube and Twitch and guys like you because you know how to play the game and they want to learn how to play the game. And so what we learned is that creating more skill mechanics and having less helpers in is really going to benefit our game, especially competitively, and grow our audience, because that's what's selling these days.
Right. That's great. That's a great answer. And you know, just to go into it further, you guys added ID the mic, and was that specifically added for one of the most competitive arcade or simulation, or was it just across the board? You felt like blocking needed an improvement?
Yeah. And it works in all modes, and the reason why we could do it in all modes is because it's a realistic, authentic football thing that happens. But the genesis of ID the mic is exactly what I just talked about, because previously people are creating nanos and sending heat, and so we go in and we build some ridiculous system like nano detection system to protect average gamers from that crap.
Yeah.
But now what we've learned is that you actually want control. Like, let me figure it out, let me do it myself. And so we can leave things like nano detection system in, but give you tools, and that if that tool is successful, we can start pulling nano detection back, which is probably what we'll end up doing.
So nano detection, there's a chance that you guys remove it.
I don't know if we'll remove it, but we might scale it back. Based on how testing is going in alpha and how like competitive players are using it and how the meta is developing, I think there's a good chance Clint and I might make an adjustment to it before launch, but we probably won't remove it completely.
Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, again, that's something that I think, me personally, I think ID the mic, slide protection, that's enough, I feel like, to prevent the defense from coming through. I feel like you should be able to pick it up. But I also understand the D tackle on the A gap. You know, I know that's what you guys are probably most wanting. You know, you want nano detection to get that. I feel like it wasn't put in place for the linebacker.
The main thing to take away is that ID the mic affords us the opportunity to scale back nano detection. So Clint and I will consider doing that in the weeks ahead.
Nice. How about another big topic was drop passes?
Yes.
Dropped interceptions, dropped crack catches. How does competitive play see those in Madden 18?
Well, let me get specific details here, because I brought my notes because some of this stuff gets pretty involved. But the main thing is, and we actually talked to you guys about this when we had the competitive community come out, and we talked about things about like guarantees. Remember? About like, well, competitive players say I should never drop an interception. So you take that ask and you say, well, what about the catch rating?
Yeah.
How am I supposed to deliver 100% guaranteed interceptions if defenders have a catch rating? And we can't squash ratings because that obviously impacts MUT, and the whole basis of the game is on ratings.
Right.
So that leaves you in a situation where you have to make a decision about how you want to deliver the guarantees. And the two ways we're talking about doing it is with our abilities. So you get an ability on a card that maybe gives you that guarantee. But the other thing is ratings cap threshold. So this is what I discussed with you. Exactly. Meaning at a certain ratings threshold, say for a DB or a defender, and if he gets hit with a ball in his hands and there's nobody around him, he's open, he has to meet a certain min cap threshold, which which I think is 70 right now, but we might adjust it before launch. If he meets that threshold, it's a guaranteed interception 100% of the time. Same thing with receivers. If you're above 90 and catching and you're open, you're going to catch it 100% of the time.
Okay, but there will never be a bronze receiver catching 100% of the time.
And that's the thing, when you guys first start out, with your mud teams and stuff, you're going to see dropped interception, you're going to see drop passes, but as you get into the higher end, remember with mud, the higher end is basically like 7 months out of the year. That's when you're going to start to see the eSport competitive model really start to solidify.
Okay. How about as far as pass blocking goes? O-line, the big thing for the last 2 Maddens, the competitive players are tanking their O-line. Is there going to be a way for us to be forced to spend on our O-line?
There's been so many changes to blocking this year, that just being one of them. We've done a lot of work on pullers, open field blocking. Receivers will block downfield now, which they didn't do it well last year. Clint's done a lot of work this year, and running, the run game is better than it's ever been.
That's what I like to hear. I love to hear that.
So good.
On the moves better?
Yes, juke is fixed, spin is getting better. We didn't bring back the double juke.
You brought it back?
No, we did not. RG wants to do it with an ability, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, really?
He's adamant we bring it back. I'm not so sure.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sick.
So yeah, running with the ball is much better. And we kind of, you remember like in years past, you could kind of left stick and kind of swerve. I don't want to say swerve. But that is feeling much better now. You'll find that people who are really good at left stick and running will stand out this year a lot more.
Oh, nice.
And hopefully, people won't be taking dives instead of taking hits. You can actually fake out users now.
That's a big deal. If you could juke somebody that's going to come up and hit you.
And you know the difference between a loco fake out and an actual special move fake out where you get into an animation? Loco fake outs have been the predominant form of fake out in competitive play during alpha, which I know is what you guys do.
Okay. That's great to hear. I like to hear that. One more thing as far as like the fluke factor that people talk about, fumbles. Is carry rating gonna finally play a factor in the game? Because I've seen a lot of people use Darius Jackson, and that really hurts me. I use Pro Sights, and I use him because he's such low cap, doesn't really fumble. But me, the Madden player, and I actually want it to be more sim. I don't want to be able to use that guy. I want to have to use Marcus Allen. I want to have to use Ricky Williams and sacrifice somewhere else. The fact that people can tank a running back position, that kind of bothered me a little bit, and I'm just wondering, is carry going to have an effect on the game more than it has been in the past?
I think so, but really, if you look at that problem with the fumbles last year, it was 2 things. It was the strip mechanic from behind, which was just a coverage problem.
One animation in particular, I remember they always get it out.
Well, that's the problem, because it can't find enough animation coverage for that scenario. It always defaults to the strip one, which is why the rate is so high. So that's fixed. The bigger deal with the fumbles last year, and this gets into mutt, when you have high-level defenders with 99 hit power and big hitter trait, you're basically going to wipe out all the carry ratings, because those players are supposed to cause fumbles when they hit stick. So it really goes back to how easy the hit stick was last year. Just get in front of the guy and tap X. So the hit stick is gone off X. You cannot hit stick with X anymore.
You got to use the stick.
X is the dive tackle. You have to use the stick. You click away to hit stick. You can click down to cut stick. It's a 2004 version of the hit stick.
Oh, high and low, basically.
And there's no steering. Heat seeker is off on hit stick. You have to line it up. The risk is high. You will whip. So basically, fumbles require user skill this year, and you can't just get them by tapping X every time you need a ball.
That's great, because hit stick was way too easy, I felt like. Same thing with ball hawk, that was an easy feature. As far as overthrows, is that going to be based on the threshold?
Correct.
Same thing?
So if you have a clean pocket, your feet are set, you're not under pressure, and you have above that cap threshold and that throw accuracy, remember short, medium, and deep, you're guaranteed to not get an overthrow.
Wow, that's great to hear. So Aaron Rodgers should be perfect again. As far as competitive modes, head-to-head, salary cap, draft champions, what style are these game modes going to be on? Going to be competitive?
All of the ones I mentioned are competitive. The only one that defaults to simulation right now is franchise, and we're still debating head-to-head.
Okay. Head-to-head meaning regular teams, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Man, I think you touched on pretty much every question that we can think of as far as the competitive scene, and appreciate your time. Thank you for everything you do for the community. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. More content on the way. Hit that subscribe button so you know when there's new videos that are uploaded. You can also check out the previous video or a random video from the past. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.